Hey, what's going on? Yeah, it's your boy Three Stacks in this thing, and of course I'm representing my squad as always. Today we're going over a deck that most people don't care for, and a lot of people don't think has any potential whatsoever. That's why you never ever really see it being played anywhere. And it's one of the decks that I really enjoy a lot because it's such a challenge to get the deck to work. Its playstyle, it attracted me when I first saw the deck because I saw it like, dang, this is challenging. Like, this deck just doesn't seem to work. Like, you have to find a way to make it work, and it's very, very strenuous. Just the process of thinking that you have to apply, man, it's crazy. Flower Cardians are an interesting archetype, I admit. They're kind of like Lightsworns in the sense that sometimes you're living on a prayer, but minus that, once the deck goes off, it's actually absurd what it can do, the boards it can put up, and how it can just spam the field. I feel like if this deck if the monsters didn't put you under a restriction of only summoning Flower Cardians, this would be one of the top 3, and I say top 3 link summoning decks, because this deck could actually put up like multiple link 4s in one turn, which is crazy. But we're going over an update on my Flower Cardian deck profile because I love this deck a lot, and I feel like it deserves its chance to shine, just like a lot of the other decks that I showcase on this channel, because we don't really do a lot of meta. I do meta, but what I enjoy is rogue. So let's hop into the main deck. So we played 3 copies of Flower Cardian Cherry Blossom with Curtain. He's my favorite one. It's one of your play starters. A lot of Flower Cardians have a requirement for you to either have a certain Flower Cardian on the field or just to have one on the field in general. He gets himself on the field with little to no cost at all. You just reveal him and draw a card. And it's a Flower Cardian. You special summon him, and then that Flower Cardian just gets added to your hand. He doesn't do what the others do. He just like shows it and then specials it. You have to play a lot of Flower Cardian monsters in your main deck in order to resolve the effects of the Flower Cardians, because basically what this archetype does is it's going to draw cards, and if the cards you draw are Flower Cardians, you're going to special summon them, and then when they get special summoned, they draw a card, and then if it's a Flower Cardian, they special. So like, you just draw special, draw special, draw special, load your field, and you just keep going off. It's really, really interesting how the deck sets up, and it even has categories of monsters, which we'll get into next. And then next up, we played 3 copies of Flower Cardian Pine. Similar to Cherry Blossom, it's one of your starter cards. You play 6 of these, and you play 1 Road to the Search It, so you have 7 ways to get into your starter. You want to open up with these so that you don't have to waste resources to get a Flower Cardian on the field. Once you have a Flower Cardian on the field, you can pretty much go off. That's all your setup. It's simple. You just get one on the field, and you can go off. But they have such weird ways in order for them to be special summoned. That's why I like these, because they have no cost at all. You just drop them, and you draw cards. When he's normal summoned, you draw a card. Well, if he's normal summoned, and then if he's destroyed by battle or card effect, you draw another card. So he's kind of like a +1, just in a weird way. And then that's gonna sum up your starter Flower Cardians. Then this next category is what I call the Willow family, which is my favorite family of the Flower Cardians. So the category of Flower Cardians, I call them the baby forms and then the Mega Evolved. So every Flower Cardian monster has a 2 different artworks, well, 2 different cards with the same artwork. So for example, you have Flower Cardian Willow, and you have Willow with Calligrapher. These are both the same person, but this is basically the Mega Evolved, fully matured and full powered version of this card. And in order to get the Mega Evolved form of the Flower Cardians on the field, you have to tribute the baby version of it. So you basically, to special him, you have to tribute Willow. That's the way you have to special summon him. That's the only way you can special summon him first. So you play 3 Willows because he recycles your engine. He basically, you special summon the babies. So I'll explain the effects as well, and then I'll really speed through the deck profile. So the babies say if you control a certain level or lower Flower Cardian, you special summon them. It's always going to be a Flower Cardian with a level less than them. So for example, he is a level, what is he, like a level 11? And he says if you control a Flower Cardian with the level 10 or lower, if it makes sense. So he's 11, so it's going to be 10 or lower. For the level 10, it's going to be 9 or lower, etc. That's how the babies get their stuff on the field. They special summon themselves pretty easily. He recycles and he draws, so he's like an Emerald. And then he has to tribute him specifically to drop himself on the field. He's the tuner. It's how you synchro summon. All the Mega Evolved Flower Cardians are basically, when they get special summoned to the field, they draw your card, and if it's Flower Cardian, they special summon that. And then they have their other secondary effect, which is really cool. So my favorites are the Willow family because they do a lot of good things for the deck. And Willow with Calligrapher is the easiest tuner to get out on the field. This deck is a synchro archetype, and that's pretty much what you're going to be doing. They have a lot of different levels, but every time you synchro, the tuners will treat everything as level 2. So you always go for even number synchros. And then for the Zebra family, I'm not playing the Mega Evolved form of Zebra Grass. The only reason why we play 3 of Calligrapher is because he's a tuner, and you have a scarce amount of that, right? So Zebra Grass is pretty interesting because he's like a magical mallet. So he's a level 8, so if you control a level 7 or lower, you special him, reveal any number of Flower Cardian cards, shuffle them into the deck, and you draw that same number of cards. And he has no cost, so if your opponent Ash Blossoms him, you don't take any negs at all. It's not like you have to shuffle for cost and then get ashed. So it's really cool in that aspect, in that regard. And then we played 3 Paulina. I don't like Paulina, even though it's an amazing battle fader. So basically, you know, it's a level 12, so level 11 or lower, Flower Cardian on the field, you especially. When this card's attacked, you negate the attack in the battle phase and draw a card. So it's a pretty strong battle fader, but people play around it pretty easily. You know, the format we're in is not slow at all. So I really play it because it can be special summoned with no restriction. That's why I like the baby Flower Cardians, because these ones, if you draw them, they can't be special summoned by the effect of draw special, because they say they must first be special summoned by tributing their baby counterpart. That's why I only play this Mega Evolve form in particular, because I don't want to brick. And if I draw a Flower Cardian, I want it to be able to be special summoned without a restriction. That's why I maximize on these cards, because you actually want to draw them when you're going off with your combo to special summon them. If you play Flower Cardians, you actually understand where I'm coming from. Now we have pretty much some generic Flower Cardians. These are a different family. There's no real restriction to them. How they get themselves on the field is by tributing Flower Cardians, but it doesn't have to be a specific one. It just has to be a Flower Cardian. So we'll start off with Boar. I played 2 copies of Boar. You tribute a Flower Cardian and special him from the hand, and then you draw a card. If it's a Flower Cardian, you actually get to destroy 1 monster on the field. And what's really cool is it doesn't target. Even though it destroys, it doesn't target. So when you're going second, you could just drop him, tributing a Flower Cardian, draw. If it is a Flower Cardian, you're basically going to get another effect. In addition to that, you're just going to destroy a monster that's in your way. And then in tandem with him, we played 2 Maple Deer. Maple Deer does literally the same thing to special itself, except this time he destroys a spell or trap instead of a monster, and it doesn't target. So these can out pretty much anything that can be destroyed if you're forced to go second, which is really cool. And you have a way to stack them on your deck and also search them, so when you're in a bind, they can kind of get you out of that pinch. And then lastly, we play 1 Peony with Butterfly. He's pretty broken. He actually takes how many cards from your opponent's deck? Okay, so he pretty much tributes a Flower Cardian to special itself, and you draw a card. If it is a Flower Cardian, you look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. You place them on the top or the bottom of the deck in any order. It's pretty insane. So you could take their 3 best cards and put them on the bottom, pretty much screw up their hand, or you could put the worst card on top so that they'll draw a really bad card next turn, which is cool. And he's a tuner, which helps. And that's it for your monsters. The only monsters you want to play are Flower Cardians, because this is what you want to draw for the effects. Then for the spells are really strong. This archetype is afforded some very, very powerful spells that they would be dangerous if they were generic. So starting with Flower Gathering, you special summon 4 baby Flower Cardians with different names from your deck, basically. And once you special summon them, you can just go off from there. But it literally special summons 4 Flower Cardians from your deck, but only the baby ones. And the baby ones all have 100 attack. You can only activate it once per turn. It restricts you from only summoning Flower Cardians for the rest of the turn. But anyways, that's all you can summon because of all the restrictions they put you under. Then 3 Super Koi Koi. This is basically a soul charge from the top of your deck. You excavate 3 cards from the top of your deck, and you special summon as many Flower Cardians as possible that were excavated, ignoring their summoning conditions. If there are no Flower Cardian cards, or if basically you excavate the 3, and if any of them are not a Flower Cardian, the cards that aren't Flower Cardian get banished face down, and then you take 1,000. So let's say, for example, you activate Koi Koi, and you look at the 3 top cards of your deck, and they're all spells. You banish all 3 of them, and you take 3,000 damage. So it's a high risk, high reward card. Then it has a grave effect, which is actually my favorite, and it can be used the same turn that it's sent to the graveyard, which is why I really like it. You can only activate this once per turn, but its grave effect is not. You banish it, tribute a monster, and special a Flower Cardian from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. These Flower Cardians cannot be special summoned except through their own effects. So using a card like this to get them on the field, ignoring their summoning conditions, thus fulfilling their effects, and you know, etc., like Paulina, Zebra Grass, even Willow Calligrapher can start a chain reaction or a snowball effect of a bunch of different things occurring at once, which is really cool. So I like Koi Koi's grave effect more than I like its actual effect, because it can get me out of more binds and fix my hand, because I might have a kooky setup where I'm just like, all I really need to do is just special this one from hand, and it does that for me. But its activation effect literally can special summon 3 Flower Cardians on the field, and it's not ashable. You can't hand trap this spell, which is really cool. So special summon 4, special summon 3, really broken. Then you have 3 flower stacking. You choose 3 Flower Cardians and put them on top of your deck. Then they have to have different names. The really cool thing is, obviously, when you draw cards, you want them to be Flower Cardians. So you can set up your own combos with this spell by stacking the proper Flower Cardian on top of your deck. And when you draw it, it'll get special. Then you can use its effect. So it basically gives you what you need. It's really awesome. It's like literally flower stacking. That's what it does. It stacks the Cardians. Then it has a graveyard effect. Except the turn it's sent, you can banish it. And then you can choose 1 Flower Cardian in your graveyard and then add it to your hand. That's really important. Believe it or not, that comes up a lot. So I like flower stacking, really, really good. Sometimes I'll even dump this off my Foolish Burial Goods if I know I need a follow-up for next turn. Then we have 3 Reincarnation. This spell is actually a lot better when it gets milled. So when you activate it, you target a Flower Cardian monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, then you special summon one from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. Kind of like Koi Koi, but a little bit more of a setup. And then if this card's sent to the graveyard by the effect of a Flower Cardian monster, you get to literally excavate the top 5 cards of your deck and choose 1 spell or trap and add that to your hand. That effect is not once per turn, so if you, in the chain reaction of your Flower Cardian combos, happen to hit 1 or 2 of these, you're going to add 2 free spells from your deck to your hand, which can be pluses. And that's the best effect. Because remember, when they draw a card, if it's not a Flower Cardian, it has to automatically get sent to the graveyard. So let's say, for example, you activate his effect by tributing a Flower Cardian, and you're like, oh, I drew Reincarnation. Well, it has to go to the graveyard on a separate chain link. This will look at 5 cards from the top of your deck through excavation. And 5 of those, obviously, 1 of them, you have a very high chance of it being a spell. You can get it, and that could be your Koi Koi. That could be, you know, like so many different things. So Reincarnation, like, all of these spells are great, and you have 12 of them. Like, you're never mad if you draw any one of these spells. They actually help you out a lot. And then I played 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. The reason why Foolish Burial Goods is so amazing in this deck is because you have 9 really powerful graveyard effect spells that you want to resolve. The most important thing about Foolish Goods for me is that I actually want to send my Koi Koi to set up my combos further. But also, you can like set yourself up for next turn by dumping your flower stacking. And also, I play Metal Fool's Fusion in my deck to turn this into an upstart. So it's a very flexible spell, and it can just do a myriad of different things, which helps it so that it's not a one-trick pony. It's not really like how it is in Spirals, where you're just only special summoning from like hand or grave. Like, you can do more than just special summon. You can cycle through your deck and also add back cards from your graveyard by using the stacking effect, which is really cool. So 3 Foolish Burial Goods is pretty interesting. It's a spicy tech. Flower Cardian players don't run it. I understand why, because the only strong target is Koi Koi, but I actually like it a lot. And then for your generic draw power, you play 3 Allure because every single monster is dark. You play 2 Pot of Desires because there's not really anything that you care about banishing. This deck has like a billion good cards, so I guess the only bad thing would be if you banish all your tuners, but that never happens because you always play this after you have your tuner. And if I don't have a tuner, I'm just not going to play this because I need my tuners. Then for your 1-ofs, you have 1 Metal Fool's Fusion and 1 Reinforcement of the Army. So you have 0 bad spells. Like, every spell is really powerful. I think the worst spell is Flower Stacking because, like, you summon 4 monsters in attack position with 100 attack. So if you can't do anything after that, you basically leave, like, yourself wide open to be attacked. But none of them are really bad. Like, they're all really powerful. There's not a single, like, bad spell. Like, if you draw any one of them, it's actually insane. And Metal Fool's Fusion has another, basically, appliance minus the Foolish Burial Goods. When it actually gets drawn off the Flower Cardian's effect, it has to get sent to the graveyard. That way you can shuffle it and then draw a random card. And because it goes right back into your deck, you can cycle through it again, you know, endlessly through the duration of the duel, which is pretty cool. Then your extra deck is only Flower Cardians because it's all you can ever summon. No matter how hard I try, I can't summon anything else because they all literally put you under the restriction where you can only summon Flower Cardians. So you play 3 Light Shower. He's pretty much going to burn you and protect all your Cardians from being targeted and destroyed by card effects. You have 2 Light Flare. He's 5,000. He negates spells and traps. And also, he has another effect. He has multiples. He negates spells and traps. And then if he leaves the field, you special summon 1 Flower Cardian monster from your extra deck, ignoring its summoning conditions. And that actually, is it treated as a synchro summon? Okay, no, it's not treated as a synchro summon. But if he leaves the field, he floats into another one that's not him, but another synchro. And then also, when your Flower Guardians battle your opponent's monsters have their effects negated for the duration of the battle. Then 2 Board Fly. Board Fly is literally an auto win in the Light Storm matchup. He stops graveyard effects and also prevents your opponent from actually special summoning from the graveyard. So he's like a floodgate. That concludes the Flower Guardian deck profile. Let me know what you guys think of this deck. I understand that it's not competitive. But it is a really cool deck, and it's just me, man. Like I don't know why I like these weird decks, but I do. It's just the kind of decks that I like to play. I like to play the really dumb decks that nobody really pays attention to, because I feel like every deck has potential. It's never the deck, it's really just the player, and that's why I feel like there's never really gonna be a bad deck. You'll see a deck that you think is bad, and then you'll see that guy that's been playing it forever, and he makes it look so great. But yeah, God bless you guys. Make good choices. Don't hurt your brain cells. Definitely stay tuned for future content. I have quite a bit of videos, like quite a bit of deck profiles that I want to get put up today. So you guys just stay in your seats, and I hope that you enjoyed this. Just let me know in the comment section below what you think of my deck profile. Peace.